The recent patch 1.3 to Farming Simulator 25 brought such a huge list of changes, and I'm not even going to go over them all here. I'll have a link, though, to the patch notes if you weren't aware that the patch came out or what it changed. I'll have a link in the description below to the patch 1.3 changes. I think it was November 27th, I think is when it came out. Well, but today I want to talk about probably three of the changes that were just, in my opinion, absolutely huge and game-changing to the way I play. The first I want to talk about is the changes they made to the steering. Now, I noticed it immediately, and I've remarked in it in a couple of my videos since the patch came out. The first video I made after the patch, I didn't realize it had been changed yet, and I didn't know what had happened. I got in my tractor, and my steering was acting wonky. And I want to talk about this because this changed the way I play for the better, for sure. If you play on gamepad, I usually play on gamepad. If you play, on a controller, and the day of the patch you got on and your tractors were steering weird and you were swerving or hitting things like right there, I did not mean to do that. I honestly didn't. I was swerving, but I didn't mean to come way over here. What they did was, I'm still trying to see exactly how this changes the way you drive, but I'll explain it. They changed the steering sensitivity, I guess, on controller to be relative to speed. Now, that in itself, reading that in the patch notes didn't really say anything, but I realized exactly what it was when I got in the game and my tractors suddenly, hit that. I couldn't turn fast enough to get back on the road. So, in Farming Simulator 22, I swapped from using controller to primarily using the steering wheel for quite a while. When I switched to the steering wheel, the first thing I noticed was that I had to switch my steering sensitivity down to 100% because I had it higher because I was using a controller. Using a controller, I got used to this in FS25, having the steering sensitivity at like 200% so that I could actually get around corners. But one thing I noticed was that I was zipping around incredibly fast, and it did bug me from an immersion point of view. It did bother me that I was taking turns at 20 miles an hour. I think everyone did that and didn't really notice it. I noticed it was immersion braking. And I liked that on the wheel, and I noticed on the wheel that I had to actually slow down for turns because I had to stop so that my tractor had time to turn the wheels so I could make the turn. I noticed that when I switched to the steering wheel. This is the whole point of this part of the story here. Let me see where we're going with this because I am actually doing a contract here. We're going... So nevertheless, after I kind of went back to controller, after I, played with steering wheel quite a bit and I was kind of going back to controller, I kept in mind that I liked to do slower, smoother turning. And when I would play with the controller, I would try to make an effort not to do jerky turns, but to use the steering more carefully. Long story short, so there's that. Fast forward to FS25, it comes out. I didn't even think about any of that. I picked it up, played it with a controller. It felt fine, just like I was used to. I used the steering wheel. It felt fine, like I was used to. I switched back to controller. Everything was fine. Patch 1.3 came out, and suddenly my tractor was driving as though, this is why I mentioned a bit about FS22. It was driving as though I was in FS22 and my steering sensitivity had been turned down. Suddenly I found myself hitting stuff again with the tractor. And I thought, I was just previously using the wheel. I forgot to change the sensitivity back up. Now, okay, take a little side jaunt here. If you don't like this new setting, if you're using a controller and you don't like the new way the steering is, you can go into the settings. Here, I'll show you right where it's at. You can go into the settings, go to General Settings, and you can turn your, let me find it here, steering sensitivity. You can turn that up to like 200%. I have mine set at 100 and steering back speed at 100. I have it evenly at 100 and 100. So basically, I'm rolling with the changes. And the thing is, this change has been really good. I think it's changed, you could say, the way I play. Because finally, here, let's turn around here. For instance, here, when I stop to turn around, I wait for my wheels to turn, and then I turn. What this has affected mostly, probably, is my backing up. Am I reversing it? Because if I want to reverse this to, say, straighten this out in the road, I'm going to have to stop, wait for my tires to turn, pull forward, wait for my tires to turn, a little bit. You can't do the fast back, back and forth. It's more, it's more realistic. Because what I'm saying is I decided to accept the change. And now I find myself slowing down to 5 miles an hour for a turn, which you would. It is silly it was silly all along that I was taking turns at like 14 miles an hour. And what I'm saying is, so much more immersive now. It takes a little bit of adjustment. It does take a bit of adjustment. If you play on a controller and you're used to the high sensitivity turning, it takes a bit of adjustment to know that you're going to have to slow down like you should anyway and wait for your wheels to turn. I found the best thing to do is get in the habit of watching your wheels. See, like you can slalom down the road, but you got to let off the gas pedal to do it, or else you will steer off the road. I found that watching the wheels really helps. And overall, this is made for a much more immersive experience. I wanted to go on a bit of a rant there, but I guess you guys probably see what I'm talking about. So that was like the biggest thing for the patch, which to many people may have been just a side note. Maybe they didn't notice, or maybe you did notice and you were like, what the heck is up with my steering? Well, there's that. Probably the second biggest, all three of these points with patch 1.3 that I want to outline, all three of these points are really just huge. But here's another big one. Let me make sure I'm going to the right place. First of all, I guess I could have pulled up my map. Yeah, actually, this right here is the field we're working on for the contract. So I'm going to park the tractor here. All three of these things are pretty much equal in size, really, as to how much they affected everything. And part of the reason I'm doing a contract and I came out to the field was to talk about one of them, which is the, whoops, I totally didn't mean to hit that, which is the steering assist lines. You can keybind them like this. Now that, I mean, for immersion's sake, oh my gosh, for immersion's sake, it is great because, okay, I'm a big proponent of these, but I don't like seeing them, you know? Like, I'm a big proponent of them. I think they're necessary in a lot of places. Like, for instance, when you're doing weeding, or like this, for instance, weeding, it's impossible to tell where you've been. Absolutely 100% impossible. Except for your tire tracks, you can't tell where you've been. You need to rely on these lines. For stone picking, it can be very difficult. Plus, look, I don't drive a tractor in real life, but I'm pretty sure that the computer systems pretty much have stuff like this on board the tractor anyway, so it's not even out of the realm of realism. It's actually absolutely a thing. So I think this is like absolutely needed. It is needed for a lot of stuff, and I think it's absolutely fine. I just hate the immersion breaking lines all over my field. So anyway, the fact that we can now keybind this is... Yeah, I was actually looking for it from the start. They didn't have it. Well, they just added it in with patch 1.3. So now you can, here, so we can just get this down here and going. We'll start this contract. Lower this down, turn this on. We can pull this up, hit that on, turn this off, and just go, you know. And when we get to the end of this row or whenever we want, we can just have a little peek, you know, where are the lines? Oh, okay, you know, I see where the lines are at. Okay, now this particular field we can see where we've been, but that's not all, you know, it's not always the case with stone picking. Some surfaces, like if this were a cultivated surface, we wouldn't be able to see where we've been. This is a plowed surface, so we can. Anyway, let's go ahead and stop this so I don't get distracted. So that is a huge thing, and you can keybind that under controls, and let's see, I might want to look, whoops, yeah, controls, and let me flick to my controller so that I can find it. It's going to be under, oh, you know where it's at. It's under vehicle work, which is not where I would think it would be. Because vehicle work, this is stuff like tool controls. And this is not tool controls, this is interface controls, right? But it's under vehicle work, and it's right here. AI worker, it's for some reason it's under vehicle work, but it is. It's with this stuff. AI worker, steering assist, right here. Toggle steering assist line visibility. And I have it hotkeyed on my controller, so I don't even have to put... I have it on my side panel as well. You guys know that if you've seen my channel, that I use side panel and steering wheel, but I also use controller. I use the controller a lot, probably primarily, actually, because I farm a lot. And the steering wheel and everything is fatiguing, and the controller is more relaxing. So, you know, I use the controller a lot anyway. That keybind is just great. And if you wonder where I had it programmed on my Logitech side panel, it's button 23. So... that's absolutely incredible. And then the third thing, which plays into absolutely like everything, all encompassing with this game, period. I had this problem. A lot of y'all probably didn't, but enough people had it that, well, they fixed it. If you guys have seen my previous FS25 videos, of which I've had many, you know, I'm trying to make one every day since the release of the game. So I've had quite a few videos, and almost, actually, I would have to say in every single one of my Farming Simulator 25 videos, you may have seen my screen flicker, or just like one or two frames of black screen come up and my graphics flicker. And you notice that it's not happened today. Yeah, they fixed that. I'm so glad, because I tried a few things. I made note of it in almost all my FS25 videos. I would apologize for it, you know, saying, sorry guys, my screen flickers. I don't really necessarily know why, but I was hoping it would go away or get ironed out, and it did. It was great, because it was, again, a lot of these things that I mentioned are regarding immersion, and I think immersion is a big thing considering this is a farming simulator. I would assume that a lot of people who play this game are into it for the immersion, and this game is beautiful, especially at certain times of day with certain kinds of weather and stuff like that. This game can be absolutely gorgeous, and then the screen flashes black, and that's not very immersive. And I really didn't like that. I tried things like messing with the DLSS and the FPS locker. I tried various monitor settings, this and that, and nothing was stopping it. It was still happening, and it was sporadic. Sometimes it would do it like 3 times in the space of 20 minutes, and sometimes it wouldn't do it all day. Point is, they fixed that. That was there in the patch notes. I forget exactly what it said about it, but it was pretty clear in the patch notes that it fixed screen flickering and whatnot. And I haven't seen one instance of it at all since, so I can only assume that, yeah, it's fixed. I haven't seen any instance of it at all. Right now I'm running a smooth 60 FPS. I have a moderate system. I have an i7. My computer is not that good. I have an i7 processor, a 3080 Ti. My video card's okay. My processor is only an i7. The point is, a moderate system, and I can run this now at 60 frames with zero issues, whatever, with my settings on high, by the way. My settings are on high, so that's good enough for me. The point is, there's a lot of really cool stuff changed in patch 1.3, so I got a link in the description. I'll try to remember to pin it in the comments as well, but it's really easy to find. I mean, seriously, you just go to Google and type, FS25 patch notes, boom, top result. I advise you to check that out and look at the laundry list of changes. I mean, it's several pages of changes, not just to the game overall, but also each of the 3 maps that shipped with the game. Anyway, guys, yeah, check it out. It's really great. It's changed. This has been just groundbreaking for me. Just these 3 things that I mentioned. There's probably stuff they changed that I haven't even noticed yet, and probably never will notice because there was like some machines that didn't hook up or work right. There was actually 1 or 2 I noticed. Hopefully they fixed those, but the point is, yeah, there's stuff I probably won't ever see because they fix it so well. So guys, thanks so much for watching. I wanted to bring this to you and talk about how much, mostly this steering, and I've enjoyed getting used to it, actually slowing down for turns and turning the wheel with the controller, which I'm used to with the steering wheel, but not the controller. When I grab the controller, I'm used to driving it like I drive a car in a video game, and I like this better, using the controller and forcing my brain to drive it like a tractor, and it doesn't take that much getting used to. Thanks all so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.